South Africa has a new heavyweight non-aligned energy issues think tank in the form of the resurrected African Minerals and Energy Forum, previously the representative organization of the black petroleum companies. The new look body, constituted as AMEF Foundation with the wide brief as Forum for Energy-Related Solutions, which focuses on research, development and thought leadership in energy matters. The AMEF's broad objective is to bridge the information and facilitation gap between government, the private sector and the energy-related stakeholders.
Well, AMEF is one of the stakeholders in the industry that has historically played a very important role in terms of inputting into the content of our energy policy. They were at the forefront in the development of the pioneering charter, which was the Petroleum and Liquid Fuels Charter, way back in 2000. And I'm glad that again they have regained their voice, and they are beginning to make another contribution in the development of the policy in the energy industry. Last year we had an energy summit. And at that summit, quite a number of issues were raised by the energy industry.
The AMEF held 5 seminars in 2009 and in 2010. So far, we had one seminar with agendas stemming partly from the need to attend unfinished business arising from the oil summit hosted by the Department of Minerals and Energy. The inaugural event of the AMEF Foundation brought together a wide range of stakeholders with an interest in South Africa's migration to cleaner fuels, to share lessons from Clean Fuels 1 in 2005 and to start a dialogue to help develop a roadmap to Clean Fuels 2. Over 80 people attended the workshop, which took place during the morning of 26 February 2009.
It was a powerful dialogue opened by the DG of Department of Mineral and Energy, Advocate Sandile Notlina. We had a lot of input from speakers from SAPIA, NAMSA, RMI and South African Bureau of Standards. And we also engaged in a process where we actually prioritize what are the key issues, and we developed a roadmap. And the way forward now is to table this to the next conference of the Department of Environmental Affairs, which is taking place next week, and table all the findings and recommendations of this seminar.
The second AMEF seminar, held at the Hyde Park on the 25th of March 2009, looked at the role of the state in the oil industry. Political parties and industry associations voiced different opinions on what role government should play in South Africa, with some noting nationalization and privatization was not the best approach.
The challenge in particular is the security of supply. We've been exploring those possibilities as to how to ensure that security of supply in a manner which is sustainable. That's basically the debate, and which we as a ruling party will take forward.
The third seminar, held at the Gallagher Estate, focused on the Liquids Fuels Empowerment Charter transformation journey in the oil industry.
Good afternoon, Africa. I'm Mandlagazi Mpahlwa Sikau. We'll also be crossing live to Cape Town to the World Economic Forum on Africa. First, though, your top stories. Well, despite the global slowdown, the Liquid Fuels Charter, which is South Africa's pioneering sector-specific empowerment framework, cannot be allowed to falter in meeting its November 2010 deadline. That's according to Maurice Radebe, chairman of the African Minerals and Energy Forum. AMEF was the major driving force behind the charter, which became the model for subsequent empowerment charters in numerous other sectors. For more on this, I'm actually joined by Mr. Radebe here in studio. Thank you very much for making it on time.
Thank you very much, Mandlagazi.
Let's first start on the seminar. What were some of the key issues that were touched upon?
The purpose of the seminar today was to really evaluate how far we are. The charter was signed in November 2000, and we just wanted to find out where we are, and in terms of progress made,
and areas that we need to improve in order to meet our finishing line, which is November 2010 next year.
How far are we?
Certain areas we've improved quite a lot. The aim of the charter was to have 25% of the industry in black hands.
And what are we looking at now?
And I'm quite pleased to report that almost, in fact, all the oil major companies have done 25% deals. And this has happened in the last 9 years. And also it had a very clear goal of ensuring that the management change. And I'm quite happy to report that almost all major oil companies, the CEOs and managing directors are black leaders. Areas that needs to be improved is the gender issue, and we need to have representation at senior level of the oil industry in particular to have women.
A true black economic empowerment deal must contain all four main aspects: ownership, control, management and skills transfer. The Minister of Energy, Honorable Dipuo Peters, stated that the liquid fuel industry had not been able to comply with the charter in the crucial elements of ownership, control and procurement.
I'm here to be able to say, together with AMEF, after this seminar, let us get together and be able to say, what are we doing with all the challenges that have been raised by the various role players? What are we doing with the recommendations that come from AMEF itself? What is it that we can do towards preparations of this industry summit that has been mooted here today?
Good evening. South Africa's Energy Minister today slammed the poor progress with implementation of the Liquid Fuels Charter, describing it as not, to say the least. Maurice Radebe is trustee of the African Mineral and Energy Forum. Welcome, Maurice. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much, Erica.
Do you agree with the statements by the Minister?
I think there was an acknowledgement that there are areas of progress and the areas that needs to be improved, and I think that's the kind of summary of the charter process.
What are the consequences of not meeting those targets?
Well, our charter is now incorporated into law through the Petroleum Product Amendment Act, so there is a licensing penalties that one can have, as well as the procurement of state tenders, for instance, will be difficult to get them if you don't meet.
The theme of the fourth seminar was to assess and solicit from the industry players what needs to be done to achieve the procurement target is set in the Liquid Fuels Charter. The session also looked at the challenges of women entrepreneurs in the sector. The views of the challenges faced by women entrepreneurs in the industry was presented by its Chief Executive of Women in Oil and Energy.
We do still have institutions structured in such a way that if you are different, if you are women, if you are disabled, it's actually more difficult to enter. There hasn't been sufficient changes of attitude. The issue of gender education within lower ranks in corporates tends to be also a stumbling block towards women securing lucrative deals with companies.
The fifth seminar discussed whether the oil industry is ready for 2010 Soccer World Cup. Security of supply and continuous availability of petroleum products throughout the event were the key issues. However, there are a number of aspects that needed to be considered. Continuous supply of product in terms of production and supply chain capabilities, special provisions for aviation fuel, retailers' acceptance of credit cards.
Yes, I think it was certainly very good to be around here and listen to the specialists in the field of energy and oils talking about how they would deal with the issue of the 2010 World Cup. And I think from what I got from them, we certainly are heading for exciting time in the sense that they will then go back and begin to plan. And what I picked up was indeed the various sectors need to certainly come together and plan together so that they coordinate their programs, so that at the end of the day they come up with a well-integrated program to ensure that they do not disappoint the country.
The 6th AMEF seminar interrogated on the Liquid Fuels Empowerment Charter, addressing empowerment of women in the industry. The presenters participated and reflected on the issues that need to be addressed and how they should be resolved to improve the role women play throughout the industry. The following topics were given special attention: successes and failures of the Charter to empower women, challenges facing women in senior positions in corporate South African companies, capacity building programs focused on women, empowering rural women, progress of females and barriers to entry in the liquid fuels industry.
We'll assess the severity of the situation as soon as we receive the report, and the plans is just not going to be with the department, because the industry will have to play a major part into those plans. So after the review of the charter, then we'll have to sit down again with the industry and say to ourselves, how can we make the situation a bit different from what it was? Because at the moment there is really no convincing evidence that we are getting there in terms of the plans, and as most of the speakers have already indicated, people are not facing hard measures on women empowerment.
In the oil and gas indaba held at Bloemfontein on Women's Day, August 9, 2010, the minister had this to say about women empowerment.
We are here today to be able to remind ourselves that as women, we need to work hard to transform the energy sector, but also to transform, in particular, the oil and gas sector for the benefit of women, so that they can also be able to own the oil well. Women must own the refinery. Women must be at every part of the value chain. In your business, you should empower other women through employment equity and human capacity building. As a manager in business, you need to employ, mentor, and bring up other young women in your organization.
With regards to the AMEF mentorship program that is going to be launched towards the end of this month, of which the department has got full support of, we would like to encourage the industry to ensure that it makes this its own legacy project, a project that will make sure that it lives beyond their time in the industry. So we are saying, as a department, we would like to support you, and please call upon us anytime if there is anything that we can do to enhance this project.
Well, I think the first thing we would like to say as a department is to congratulate AMEF for this session that is taking place towards the end of the Women's Month. We believe that it's an important initiative. It's aligned squarely with the government objectives, that of ensuring that women take their rightful place in society, particularly in the private sphere of our society, the private sector, where we believe that there's still a lot of room for improvement, especially with the participation of women as well as in leadership positions.
I'm supporting this mentorship initiative that AMEF is taking and participating in it, and I hope that we will be able to make a contribution, although sometimes you wonder that we really have anything to teach these clever young people. But we will try, and we hope that we will be able to make some kind of difference to their lives, and we hope that they will be interested to hear what we have to say by way of advice and so on.
We at FRA, we are there to support women as far as this is concerned, and we are dedicated and committed to the gender equality.
Those women who will be taking part of that program, grab it with two hands, make sure that you can get as much as you can out of these role models of our country, and make sure that you'll be a successful woman somewhere after getting this mentorship. So please, I wish them all the best.
A question that could be asked is, why do any of us volunteer to be mentors, as it's not an easy relationship and it takes time and effort in order to be a successful mentor? And I think it probably goes back to the fact that all of us in our careers will have had mentoring and feedback and assistance from more senior executives that have helped us in our careers. I can think of several people over the course of my career that have been critically important in moving ahead, and I venture to suggest that nearly all successful leaders at some stage in their career receive valuable feedback and mentoring from a more senior executive that helped them in their personal and business development.